So this episode, and let me turn on some light, is about the Canon R5II, Canon R8, Canon R6II. What secret sauce do they have? That's what it's about. So I'm going to show you some pictures, and I've used the 100 to 500 and the RF 200 to 800. And let me show you some things that's going to blow your mind. Okay, so experimenting with the Canon R5II with the 100 to 500, there was a problem with, I think, a firmware update to the 1.1.3 or something like that, 1.0.3. So I got the 1.0.2, trying to see if I'm getting the same situation with the 100 to 500. I got it on number 3 stabilization so that I can either press the shutter button to get it focused, or I put in manual focus and then use the focus ring. Okay? So let's go to some pictures. These are in RAW, okay? But look how sharp these are. I had no problem in focusing. As I'm scrolling down, look at this. It's unreal. And I want to make sure one more thing, folks. I'll be right back. I just want to make sure my sound was working. Okay. I've been burned for the past couple of days, but everything's working good. And I'm only using one monitor on the Studio 32. So you can see I was getting a little out of focus. It just wasn't focusing on the bird. And I don't know if it was having a hard time. And then I realized even with animal subject on, it just wasn't locking on. So I put it on my cat, put it on an airplane. And these are raw files, okay? But I even got a bird in the same shot. Now, what I want you to look at is right here, okay? And I'm going to zoom in. So you see, I think this is one of the birds I rescued. He follows me everywhere I go, okay? I make sure he has water. He has a mate that he's with also. And he won't be quiet. He's a noisy bird, right? He's always chirping. And I don't mind that. But then you get a blue jay. So in raw photo, with a picture of a bird like that, that's magnificent. If I go a little bit further, I says, man, isn't that beautiful? I wish I had a better shot, you know, a bigger lens. But I had the 200, 800 on this one. And I was getting pretty happy because look at the shots I'm getting. Sometimes they're in focus, like this one right here. Look at that. That's a great shot. That's why you have a 45 megapixel camera, so you can crop in with his beak open. And then there's my friend back. And they fly to that fence, and then they fly down to the ditch. And you see, he's getting out of focus, all right? Something to do with the wood. Now, that one is a pretty good shot right there, okay? but still, he's a small bird. And, well, anyway, so here's a good shot of him. And I think he's calling for his girlfriend or wife. So that's a little bit out of focus. This is a better shot where it's in focus, almost. I'm focusing on him, not her. And that might be a different bird, okay? I can't tell the difference. They're always hanging around me. But you see the color? And I think I was focusing on him. So once you set an object, you can use your eye to switch from one to the other. Sometimes it works with my glasses on, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. And I got it where I decided to fly off, and that's it. But that's Canon R5, and this is in raw files. So I says, wait a minute, where did I see that a digital photo? Okay. So remember the Canon R8? It has a 2x, 4x. So I'm using the 200 at 800. Okay. Let's look at these pictures. And if I do a Command I, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see. This is focal length at 200 at 4x. All right. Same thing. 200. 200. Guess what, folks? There's 4x at 800 with the Canon R8. I've never gotten this close to the light bulbs. And this is in my neighbor's yard by his tree. And look how sharp and clear it is. You can see some dirt, maybe a little web, whatever. You can see the filament. That's why I wanted to show you about the secret sauce. So, you know, a lot of people say, well, you crop, it's the same focal length and stuff, but sometimes a camera system will put a digital converter, 2x, 4x in this case, and you get close-ups to where you never imagined you could get close-ups to. This pigeon right here, or dove, I can't tell them apart. Okay, there's a good shot. She looks ready to give birth, lay some eggs. And this is the R8. It has no shutter. It's all electronic, okay? And I was having a little difficulty holding the thing. So then I said, well, let's do this flapping leaf. And I'm going out from 800 to 200. And then I'm practicing on my dog. Look at that. 4x at 800. You want to talk about zoom? Zooming out. Zooming out. Taking off the 4x to 2x to 0. And then I'm coming right back in. So you're seeing some noise. But the same thing here. Look how sharp these pictures are. So zooming in and out, that's what I'm seeing sitting down. And then when I come up, look at that. I went to the wrong ones, but still they're sharp. Okay? And now I'm coming back in. So that's round 2, okay? So I went with the R6II. Peter Gregg has the same camera, but I used a 50 millimeter on here, nifty 50. So watch what happens. That's the basic 50 millimeter, 2x, 4x. And then it says, well, let's try that 200, 800 again. Let's look at the nest. 4x at 800, 2x, no digital, and that's a little bit out of focus. There we go. So I says, well, let's try something else out. Okay, let's look at this where exhaust heat from the attic. So zooming in and out with the digital conversion. Look how far that is away from me. And I believe that's at 800 millimeters. I think that's 800. It might be 200, but yeah, that's at 200. Okay. Now I'm panning. I'm showing you how far this house is compared to the one. I was taking pictures of this earlier, right here. And then if I go up, I kind of fooled you, and I went to this. That's the secret sauce I'm talking about, okay? I did this the other day with the birds. And yeah. And then these were the moon shots I did a long time ago. If I'd have used a digital conversion on these, it would have been great. So the secret sauce, in my opinion, is the digital in the menu. It must be on JPEG, all right? It can't do it in RAW. You put it in JPEG, and then you do the teleconverters, you know, like 2x, 4x, built into the R8, which is only electronic, or the R6II, which does have a shutter, and it works fantastic, all right? It was getting dark at night. I noticed that you may have to bring up the exposure a little bit on the R6II, but I learned something new today. I used it the other day when I was at that big flood that runs off right next to that school and furniture store or whatever, when I was taking pictures of the different birds, okay? And I was using the R8 and the digital converter from 2x to 4x, and you saw that dove or that pigeon on top of the lamp, and you can see how big and close it was. And I was just using the 24 to 240 millimeter at that time. I was using the RF 200 to 800 millimeter. So I just wanted to share you this secret sauce with you. Pictures look great. Yes, they're JPEG, but I got the shot. They look fantastic. And I was pretty satisfied. I could just slap myself for not using that earlier. So thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.